I love to go to church, and I am so excited that there's a bit of a resurgence of interest in not only Christianity, but just church attendance and in worshiping God. I feel like we're having a wonderful moment in time in our country and hopefully in our world where there's a rising consciousness of our need for worship and to be accountable to a higher form of morality other than just our own desires and our own whims. Now, I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and I've done a series of videos. You can see my Come to Church With Me playlist, where I have talked about my experience going to my ward. I've given like play-by-play, vlog style, everything we've talked about, so that if someone's curious what happens at a Latter-day Saint church service, that they can listen to my videos and get kind of a good introduction to that. So be sure to see that playlist if you want to understand more about going to a Latter-day Saint church. Now, I did want to step in here and make a video because I recently was a visitor at another Latter-day Saint church this last weekend when I went camping. I went camping somewhere in Utah at a state park, and my husband and I decided to go to a church just as a visitor in Cannonville. So there's this cute little ward in Cannonville of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. They meet at 10 a.m. on Sundays. They have this cute little church building in their community, and it's a small little ward, and we thought we would drop in and visit and see what we thought. So I haven't prepared any like fancy script or anything, but I'm just going to kind of share with you as if we were sitting down on the couch talking about what it was like to be there so that you can get a feel for it. Now, these people are like in kind of a farming type of community. Their houses are, like spaced pretty far apart with a lot of land, or some of them are closer together, but they're older. Just like one of those really small, like old style farming communities. I think they have maybe 1,700-ish people in it. And like I say, they just have one ward of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So we were just really excited to, see what it would be like there. So we arrived a few minutes early so that we could surf off of the Wi-Fi and study our scriptures, which we did in the waiting area for a little bit. And then we entered the chapel and just found a seat and sat down, enjoyed the quiet music. And then when the meeting started, the bishopric member welcomed everyone. He was very friendly. And we started with an opening prayer and a song as usual. But just before the song and prayer started, the very kind older gentleman came up and introduced himself and shook our hands and said, "Well, I'm just so grateful that you're here worshiping with us today." And then he went and sat down. And I just thought that was so sweet, because a lot of times I, even though I clearly have a testimony and I love going to church, I'm often in my own little zone when I'm at church, and I may not always notice when somebody's new. So although I felt very loved and cared for that someone came up to me, I do want to put it out there that if that's not your experience when you go, don't worry too much about it. Don't overthink it. People often are in their own zone as well. But I thought that was really sweet that he came up and introduced himself. Of course, as the meeting progressed, they had very, very kind people giving the prayers. There was I think the girl who gave the opening prayer was like maybe 8 or 9, and her dad came up front and just helped her say the prayer. And I just thought that was so sweet that someone so young is leading the congregation in prayer. A child is leading us in prayer. As usual, there was the sacrament that was administered. I think they had just 4 young men come and pass the sacrament, and of course 2 young men that blessed it. It was very reverent, very well done, and we enjoyed the quiet and pondered on the Savior's life quietly during the sacrament. I specifically was thinking about how I had been maybe a little bit too irritable with my husband a couple of days ago and said something kind of snappy that was inappropriate. It's not like he was doing anything. He just had done something I was kind of annoyed with, and I was a little snappy, and I thought, you know what, that's not good. So I reminded myself in the sacrament, okay, how does Jesus talk? How does he how does he think? How does he feel towards others? And I prayed that I could have more strength, more grace from Jesus through his atonement to be the person that I need to be, because I want to truly be Christian and not just pretend to be a good Christian. Like, I want to actually be a good Christian, which means to model Christ. And all before church, the couple days before church, I was thinking how I was really looking forward to the sacrament when I could ponder, as I took the bread and the water and listened to the prayers and prayed silently, that I could really ponder the character of Christ and ask for additional strength from God, additional strength through the atonement of Christ to help me overcome my weaknesses. I had prayed, a couple of days before, and of course every day I'm praying for help, but I just particularly look forward to the sacrament because I'm telling you there is more power there in taking that sacrament, renewing your covenants with Jesus Christ, and asking for his grace to help you to overcome your weaknesses. So I felt that beautiful, sanctifying, strengthening power during the sacrament. Okay, now during the sacrament meeting, after the sacrament was blessed and passed, there were 3 speakers, and they had 2 missionaries speak, and then one guy that I think was like a mission leader, and I think he was a member of the ward. And both missionaries were just lovely people. I don't remember where they were from. I think they were both from the United States, but they're serving in that area. And both of them had a similar message, which was just encouraging us to open our mouths and to share the gospel with those around us. The second missionary specifically reminded young people that, young people have a special opportunity to share the gospel because so many young people are hungry to hear about Jesus Christ, but they're more open to hearing it from people their age than, like, say, their parents or grandparents, which makes a lot of sense, right? We tend to want to hear things from people that we relate to more, maybe our age. And he gave a really interesting story about when he was in high school. There was only 10 members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in his high school. And I don't remember how many people. He said there were hundreds. And he said that he had an opportunity to share the gospel with a couple of people. And one of them joined the church that really made a big difference in her life. But he still said that he wished he'd been more open about his beliefs in Jesus Christ. That if he really thought about it, he had lots of opportunities to share and really didn't as much as he could have. And again, just encouraged us to be aware, to be more open of who we can share the good news of Jesus Christ with. And I really loved that. And then that next talk was by a mission leader. And I don't remember all the details of what he said, but it was warm and inviting and kind and just encouraging us again to share the gospel. He told a couple of really interesting stories. One about when Dallin Oaks, who's the new prophet, was held at gunpoint and how he got out of that by the Spirit telling him, don't tussle with this guy, because if you do, the guns are going to end up going off. You'll end up killing him. So just reason with him. And then, Dallin Oaks reasoned with the gunman, and the gunman left. And of course, the message is to be very open to the oppressions of the Spirit, because the Spirit will guide and protect you, even in really crazy things like being held at gunpoint. He also told a story about when he was a missionary. He had been with a couple of other missionaries. He was going, or it was before he was a missionary, that he was a young man preparing to go on a mission, and he went on what's called splits with missionaries, where a young person or a third wheel, so to speak, could go with missionaries and help them teach. So he went with both of them. They didn't split up. So there were 3 of them, the 2 missionaries and him, and they got knifed in this, wherever he was. I don't remember where he was, but he said that they had gun laws and nobody was allowed to carry guns. And so people that wanted to hurt people carried very long knives, and that both of the missionaries got knifed really bad in the back, and that he got knifed in the leg, and was just talking about how they felt that even though they'd been stabbed, they were very protected because the knife went between the kidney and the liver in both of the missionaries. So that it wasn't lethal. They were able to recover, and it was like a 4.5-inch blade, he said. So it was pretty bad. Okay, I know, pretty gruesome, not what you'd expect to hear in sacrament meeting, but honestly, right? Like, it's okay. It's a story about how somebody was protected and felt that their testimony was strengthened. But lots of other wonderful things that he said, and I don't recall them all. I just thought the knife story was pretty vivid, so I remember that. And then after the sacrament meeting was over, when we were going to go into the next class, several people came up and welcomed us. And I could tell that if I had questions, they would have been very willing to ask questions. But clearly, what we were saying, like, hey, yep, we're visiting from another ward in Utah, they're like, oh, okay, cool, But if we had said, yeah, we're just visiting, we're investigating, or we're curious what you guys do here, they would have been so willing to open their hearts and share, to answer questions, to be respectful and responsive. They were just very, very warm. So, all right, my husband went off into the meeting with the men, because it was the week where we split off. The men go in one meeting and the women go in the other meeting. So I went into the women's meeting called Relief Society, and I think there was only like 15 or 16 women there, because it's a small ward. It's a small little rural community. And we started with a nice song and prayer. And in this board, they do a good news minute, which I think is lovely. They asked anyone to share something positive, some good news from the week. And isn't that wonderful, right? Because social media and the internet is so full of negativity. And it's just a good reminder that there's always wonderful, good, happy, blessed things happening. And so I don't recall what people shared, but there's a couple people that shared lovely things that had happened, and it was a positive experience. So then they shifted over into an announcement that talking about there was a missionary there from the Pathways program, and the Pathways program is a program that the church has set up to help people get bachelor's degrees in 3 years or less if they already have credits. And they can earn certificates along the way to help them earn money as they go through school. There's tons of people in Africa that are doing school through Pathways, and all over the United States. And so the missionary from Pathways just stood up to increase awareness. Do you guys know about this program? Do you know anybody that needs help with this program? And we listened to her spiel for a minute. And there were 2 people in that room. Like I say, there's only like 15 people in there, but 2 people in that room have just finished getting bachelor's degrees through Pathways. Very, very inexpensive. And through, the church's program. I thought that was really cool. In fact, my sister is working on her degree in Pathways. I've known multiple people that have done that. And our church emphasizes education. It's so important so that we can be our best, so that we can help other people and take care of ourselves as well. So I thought that was wonderful that awareness of Pathways is increasing. Okay, then we moved on to the lesson. And the lesson was about, it was on a specific conference talk from, I think it was April of this year, about teaching children the gospel. And so it really was like kind of a teaching us as parents how to help children. Now, my children are all raised. There were women in there that clearly are grandparents, and there, was a couple women that were not, married. They're just young. And then there's several young moms. So you've got a variety. You've got something of everything. I'm sure there was a widow and a divorcee. There's kind of everything in there, right? But nonetheless, we consider ourselves, all of us, as caring for the children in our lives. So this isn't just for, hey, only, women of childbearing age that have children of, from ages 6 months through 18. That's not what the lesson is for. It's for all of us as women, as we band together, supporting each other in nurturing our children. Because once, your child is raised, well, maybe you have grandchildren or neighbors or friends' children or children that you teach at church. There's children in our lives, nieces, nephews. Doesn't matter. We're all trying to help, right? We're all lifting where we stand. So we were talking about how do you help prepare children to gain access to all the blessings that we have at church. And we went through I think it was at the end of our Come Follow Me lesson manual that has an appendix where there's several different topics that you need to, if you're trying to raise the children in the church, you need to teach them about these things. Clearly, obviously, about Jesus Christ, that's the core. These things are auxiliaries that help create cohesion around that testimony, like baptism. How do you teach children about the importance of baptism? How do you prepare them? How do you answer their questions? How do you help them come to know Jesus Christ and that they can feel ready, willing, and interested to make that next step with the Savior, to covenant with him? So we talked about baptism. Another one is temple covenants. How do you help talk to your children so that they will feel they understand what they're getting into when they make that choice to go through the temple if that's something that they choose. And another one of the topics was the patriarchal blessing. How do you help children know what a patriarchal blessing is, and to understand, what are some healthy expectations around that? How do you prepare spiritually? How do you know when you're ready? Some of those kinds of questions. And there were several other topics that we went over as well. And so we just got in little groups and read a section, and then all reported to the group about what are some ways that you would approach children with this topic. And as we were talking in a group, I don't remember exactly which the topic was, but it definitely, came out that we need to share our testimonies and what we know and what we believe with our children. And then it kind of came up, well, what about like when children struggle to understand or connect with, what you're sharing? And that's when I shared, because as a therapist, I often share because I get to hear when people really struggle with, feeling forced or feeling, like over religiousified at home or something, right? And I have some opinions about that we listen to our children, which is what Christ would do. He would listen and sit with you and understand where you're coming from and love you, and then also emphasize, truths, but also you have the right to choose for yourself. Anyway, I piped up and just said, I get to hear lots of over the years, I've dealt with teenagers and sometimes young adults who have struggled with their testimony. And one of the most helpful things that you can do when you're having a conversation with someone who is not in that same place as you, testimony-wise, or having a lot of questions, that the best thing to do is to listen and to say, I hear where you're coming from, and that makes sense, and okay, that's valid. And then also to remind them that Jesus Christ makes it safe to not understand or to make mistakes or to wonder or to struggle. It's okay if that's where you're there because of his atonement and his love. He's always reaching his hand out to you, that if you need to struggle and say, hey, to be honest, I'm not really there right now, it's safe to do that. Christ is there extending his arm when you're ready, and you can learn at your own pace. So we just had a little bit of a conversation around that. And one woman commented on when she went to the temple for the first time, when she was to be sealed to her parents. I think she was 15 and she was getting sealed to them. She hadn't been told anything what to expect. And so she actually felt kind of scared just because she didn't know what was going to happen next. She's sitting in this room waiting, and then she sees everyone, that now they're in white clothes, and she's like, wait, where's my family? What's going on? She just said it reminded us it's really important to have conversations with your children that are going to go into the temple, like what's going to happen, so that they don't feel disoriented and confused about what's going on. So I loved that. I felt like the whole experience I just felt really at home and comfortable because everyone was kind and warm. They kept it real. They were filled with testimony. I heard Christ's name multiple times, which always makes me happy to hear him spoken of directly. And of course, after the meeting, there's a couple people I talked to briefly. It was a very warm exchange. Now, part of it, I have to just step back a second and say, not all wards are the same, right? You're going to have some wards if you go visit that maybe you don't really get a lot of people that are friendly. I have had that happen once. I think I've visited quite a few wards, but there's one ward I went. I will not say what state it was in. It was way back east. And I actually had a really good experience back east one time, but another one, I felt like I was just really surprised. I felt like everyone there was kind of stuck up. And I didn't have a great experience, but I have a testimony, so it didn't bother me. I just know that's one ward. But this one was very loving. I felt the Spirit. I thought, in fact, when my husband and I left, we thought, man, if we needed a place to move, we would move here. These people are wonderful. So I hope you've enjoyed hearing about my experience in Cannonville. If you ever go there, go visit their ward. They are delightful people. I love visiting other wards of my church, and I wish I had more time to visit other denominations as well. I'm just so involved on Sundays with my own, it's hard to find that time, but I have at times, and I have enjoyed it when I have. All right, I look forward to talking to you more about church attendance in another video. See you next time.